Hey y'all, I apologize for that brief little video snafu. We're going to just pick up right where we left off. So we have the one corner that we just got done talking about with the family rules. The second corner is going to be the family roles, and that is going to be the different roles that each family member plays. It could be the scapegoat, the mascot, the hero, the lost child, those sorts of things. In the bottom two corners, and again, this doesn't matter how you place them on the page, just that these four sections are definitely thought about. We've got the role that dad plays in the home and the role that mom plays in the home. So these are kind of the outer lying portions of the trauma egg. And you can see in the center here, I drew an egg. Now, we're going to kind of close off the top here, and we'll save that a little bit for later. But in this bottom portion here, you're going to have the client write out the different traumas or stressful events or distressing messages or anything like that they might have experienced, whether it's during childhood or their adolescent, anything that's contributing to the trauma or the crisis at hand. So it could be anything from I was being made fun of. Maybe there was death or divorce. I was attacked by a dog. I was scared while I was swimming in a pool. Maybe there was abuse. The client here can use this section to use word pictures, or perhaps they might want to go home and cut out magazine pictures or anything that might represent the different traumas that they have gone through. Okay, so once they have that done, excuse me here, they are going to finish out this top section here. And that section is going to be their mission statement. Now, that's not a mission statement necessarily as far as what they are hoping to be in life. This mission statement is more pertained to what they were launched to do. So essentially, because of these family rules and the roles that everybody in the family, as well as dad and mom, played in the family, what was your client launched to do? What were they set up to do? So Brennan Manning, if y'all have read the book, Abba's Child, first of all, it's a great book. I would definitely recommend it, especially the second chapter is absolutely fabulous. But Brennan Manning would call this the imposter, what I was launched to do, what I was set up to do because of these four things, okay? These are the things that happened, but I was set up to do certain things or to wear a mask or to believe certain things, and this would be called the imposter, okay? So from this is a very, very descriptive aid that you can use, and this can actually be part of your treatment plan for the client. Because within this, we see all sorts of cognitive distortions. We see where the system lies. We see different traumas that we need to be processing through in therapy. We see different roles. We see how values and distortions were created. So this is a really helpful tool that y'all might use in a client session when you're trying to kind of plan and figure out what is the goal that I'm moving towards, what am I doing in therapy, what's the direction that we're going, what do we need to target. This is an absolutely excellent resource. Let's see. So the last two is going to be trauma charting as well as safety planning and anticipating. So really quickly, trauma charting is this is something that y'all could make up in an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document very easily yourself. And this would be used for a client who's kind of just trying to make sense of going, where is it that I need to start in all of this? And simply what you would do in the trauma charting process, it's similar to a timeline, is that you would have the clients list out the traumatic or the crisis or the distressing events within their childhood. Now remember, trauma is very subjective. So what might be traumatic for your client might not necessarily be traumatic for you. Distressing events are the same way. What might be distressing for you would not necessarily be distressing for your client and vice versa. But in this trauma charting, they are allowed to list anything that would be distressing. So it could be anything from being attacked by a dog to having a childhood friend say something about you, maybe in front of your peers, or maybe an abusive situation or a death or divorce or anything like that. So once you kind of chart these, on a scale of 1 to 10, you also then will list how distressing this event was, 1 being the least, 10 being the most. The other thing that you'll want to do is make sure that this is in chronological order. Because typically what we find with traumatic situations and distressing events is that the younger we start in addressing, the more we hit all the rest of those events. Okay, so usually the message we might receive at the earliest distressing moment is a message that plays out throughout the rest of our lives. And so this is a really good way to figure out what those messages are and then start from the beginning and work our way down. And the final thing that I wanted to talk to y'all about as far as interventions is safety planning and anticipating. So we talked about it a little bit within our group discussion board as well as the textbooks as far as safety planning. And this is something that I really want to hit on because safety planning is absolutely key in the therapeutic process. If you fail to discuss safety planning with your client, it often can be detrimental to the therapeutic process, okay? So what this might look like is if you're working with a client who's in an abusive situation, to try to do counseling without addressing the fact that they're going home into that abusive situation very much hinders the counseling process. So you want to make sure that you develop a team. Somebody mentioned in our discussion the word triage. So this is going to be a support system or sources of support, resources that your client has in order to draw from as they're seeking to be healed from that traumatic situation. The second thing about that is being able to anticipate certain situations. So when you think about a traumatic situation such as a death, you might want to be talking through with your clients what are very emotionally reactive days. It could be anniversaries or birthdays or holidays. What are some dates that mean significant things to that particular client? And start anticipating what might it be like on that day. What are some different traditions and habits that we might be able to get into in order to alleviate from some of the pain and the hurt that you might feel that day? But the one disclaimer I would add in that is that we can't always anticipate what we're going to be like in that moment. I had a sweet young girl that I used to work with who was about 25 years old and was going through a divorce. And she was doing really, really, really well. And then all of a sudden, one day she got those divorce papers in the mail. And she had thought, you know what, I'm over it. That's in the past. I'm moving on. But she could not anticipate what those emotions were going to be like on the day that she received her finalized divorce papers in the mail. And that was very distressing for her because she thought she was over it. And so to just reassure your clients that we never know how to anticipate how we're going to feel completely in a circumstance, that gives them the ability and the freedom to truly emote and to truly feel and be able to process even things that they couldn't anticipate.